Ready? Okay guys, so first half of the class-ish, I'm going to give, just kind of go through some ideas, and then after that, maybe a short break, and then really I want it to be kind of much more kind of led by you guys, so kind of asking ideas about or asking clarification or kind of ideas about maybe some certain parts of kata, bunkai that you want to specifically cover. But first of all, I'm just going to kind of go through some ideas. Understand? Yes. Okay, I'm just going to angle that camera a little bit down, so just so you can make sure you get to my feet, because sometimes they're important. Okay, so guys, nice relax from here. All I want you to do, like we'll start right at the beginning, very first movement of Heian Shodan. So all I want you to do is just kind of this rotation in and blocking down Gedanbarai. Okay, just that kind of just warming up. So nice, Gedanbarai. Okay, a couple of times, off you go. Okay, fairly simple, yeah? Kind of rotate first and block. Okay, a couple of times, guys, give it a go. Super easy. Okay, so guys, well done. You can all do the first movement of Heian Shodan. So like obviously Heian Shodan originally was Pinan Nidan, second kata in Itosu Sensei's kind of range. Then this was originally a very short kata, a very short stance, yeah? So rather than this long stance, we were kind of like stepping maybe a little bit out to the side, a little bit longer than Shizentai, and then rotating in here. So it was very clearly like just someone attacking you in that very same area. And I don't want to kind of get into the whole idea whether bunkai in Heian katas is worthwhile. I would argue it probably isn't, but we just kind of have that basic idea that originally it was a very short range. Now, as Shotokan became elongated, we're making much longer stances, so we're driving into stance. So to drive into stance is a little bit kind of counterproductive if you're blocking. So to step forward and block is a little bit counterintuitive, yeah? So I just want you to kind of have this feeling. So if you have, like, some of you have a partner, which is great. If you don't have a partner, just have imagination. But imagine like Kizami-zuki's coming. Kizami-zuki, you're blocking and striking. So let's go a little bit closer. Yeah? So Kizami-zuki comes. You're blocking on the hikite, on the preparation hand. Boom, you're striking in. Or even better. Even better, this Kizami-zuki comes. Then already this is something. Already this preparation is something, and then you're driving in. Okay, I just want you to have that sense. So instead of just kind of mindlessly blocking down Gedanbarai, have a sense of that this rotation, this compression, this preparation all has value. So the preparation is a block, the guide hand is a punch, and then from this kind of quick fire motion bomb, then you're driving in kind of Gidan Tetsuri. Understand? Super basic, easy kind of application to start with. Kind of either do it with a partner, if you have one, some of you do. If you don't, just kind of do it with that intent. Okay, couple of minutes guys, give it a go. It's alright, we have Rue here now. Huh? We can do the heavy work.
No, I was like, I can't tell.
Okay, couple of minutes guys. Again, like right the way through the seminar, any questions, you know what to do. Excuse me, unmute yourself and just ask, yeah? So try from that Shizentai position, yeah? Shizentai position, first thing you do is drop your weight. Anybody who's kind of like know what they're doing, you're going to drop your weight, you're going to get your guard up. So get your guard up, you're blocking. This hand has value, it's alive. And then from that block, punch, boom, then you're driving in. And you're making the shape of Gedanbarai, but that's all you're doing. Just the shape of Gedanbarai. Everything else kind of has different meaning. Then thoroughly, don't stop, yeah? Not 1, 2. Like once you get that feeling, try to make it twitch. Dum feeling, yeah? So you're just kind of blocking, hitting straight away. Try to keep control of your center line. Don't break your line as you're moving. Then full rotation, guys. In this sense, just watch from the side. From this sense, like your hips are going to end up in this position when you're landing Gedanbarai. But have that sense that you're dropping your weight, someone's coming from this side. You know, you'd naturally kind of cover. So use your center, use your hip, get that complete preparation. I mean, in normal execution of the kata, you want that rotation. Rotation to driving Gedanbarai, yeah? So use that idea. 1, 2 feeling, yeah? As you twitch. Don't be hip-centric either, yeah? Some of you are kind of, I'll show you from this side, some of you are a little bit like so hip-centric, you forget to take your upper body with you. So above all else, this is covering, boom, your heating fitting. Let's get your body mass behind that before you drive it. Last 30 seconds, guys. If you've got any questions, just ask. Then Dan Pope, try and keep that back straight, yeah? Control your centre line. Okay. Okay, Yama, good. Okay, so that's super basic kind of like a simple idea of kind of applying something that is fairly basic, but in a much more kind of a, not advanced, but a little bit kind of different way from the basic shape. Then what I want to try to do in the next hour and a half is kind of give you ideas that you can then apply to any kind of application. Then there's two things I want to kind of talk about. First of all is that there is no set application to any kata, of course. And if they are, if you have, okay, this technique means this thing, this sequence within a kata means this set of applications, then the application becomes equally as static as the kata itself. Like the kata should be the form, the kata should be the thing that's kind of basically a static pattern where you're following the kind of the guided, you know, the general theme of the kata. But the application is completely free. So you're using that static pattern to produce freedom of movement. Do you understand? Yeah, understand? Okay, so I want to give you some ideas that you can then apply to lots of different kind of positions, lots of different shapes, lots of different katas. So hopefully then your application becomes the dynamic part of your kata. Understand? Yes. Okay, so next one, guys. Let's just like Manji-gamae. Manji-gamae kind of exists in a lot of Manji-gamae, Manji-uke, whatever you want to call it. Manji-gamae exists in a lot of kata. Then sometimes, you know, sometimes like this. Kyusho is like this, right? This is Manji-gamae. Okay. Sometimes in the various kata like this. Sometimes like this. Sometimes even like this. Yeah. Ultimately, it's the same kata, it's the same movement. And I want you to kind of like. Let's just talk about how we can apply it, and then we'll talk about like different variations. But I want you to have that same feeling. So again, it's kind of almost the same thing. Like Ross is coming in because Yama-zuki, you're blocking. So you're blocking and striking. So I want you to have that sense of blocking, striking. Often, like we'll do this in kokutsu, where you are driving your body mass in, but whilst keeping your weight back. So I mean, like that's kind of oxymoronic. But kokutsu means standing with your weight on your back leg. But it doesn't mean that you can't transition forward into an attack. So I want you to have that sense of drop. I want you to have that sense of dropping, blocking, and striking. This thing, Manji-gamae. Then any the SKIF Kanazawa Sensei's group who kind of come underneath to come up to this form. Every other kind of JK derivative, you come across your body like this. Yeah, I mean sometimes stops like this. Kyusho. Everything else like this. So I want you to have that sense of blocking, covering, going in. Blocking, covering, going in. Understand? Okay, so if you're by yourself, like there's loads of different times you can practice that in a kata. If you're with a partner, just try them attacking Yama-zuki and you're just going in. You're just going in. That's all. But block, strike. Block, strike. Give it a go, guys.
Sensei?
Yes.
The Kanazawa form for the Manji-gamae, it comes inside the other arm.
Yeah.
The main reason for this one is to stop the outer arm swinging around the body.
Oh, okay.
To stop that arcing movement.
Yeah.
So it comes straight, so it's a straight line.
Straight line, yeah.
It comes straight rather than round.
Yeah.
But obviously in an application form, you've got the impact of someone's arm to stop that swinging. So
yeah.
Application, it would be on the outside, but during katas, you teach it inside, so it comes down. One comes down like a G right down your arm.
Yeah. Okay. So the execution of the kata, performance of the kata is different from the application of the kata in SKIF. Yeah.
Yeah, because this will stop the impact here, whereas performance, it would sort of can create the form to lose with the power of the arm lifting up.
Cool.
That's kind of our way.
Yeah.
But obviously, like you say, other styles do it different.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne Sensei. Okay, good. Good, guys. Everybody kind of get that? It's fairly basic, right? It's fairly basic. Then what I want you to think about, okay, what I want you to think about is this. Let's try, let's try the sequence within Sochin, those who know. So in Sochin, like there's a couple of times you're going to make Manji-gamae, and then you're stepping forward in this classic kind of double block, yeah? Then I want you to think about this in the same way. So try this, like mostly high grade, so maybe you'll know this. But ultimately, all I want you to do is make Manji-gamae in back stance, and then you're stepping forward into footed arch, Sochin dash, and then this double block. Uke-tsuki. Okay, so this 1, 2. You do both sides. 1, 2, although it doesn't happen in the kata that way. Okay, just try this, guys, a couple of minutes. So, show you from this angle, yeah? You're stepping forward, Manji-gamae, and then you're going to step forward this double block in footed arch. Okay, give that a go, guys. Then as you're doing this, like try both sides, try left leg stepping first or right leg stepping first, try both sides. But as you're doing this, I want you to think, these are the same techniques. This is the same technique twice. One is in back stance, one is in front stance, in footed arch, should I say. But ultimately they're the same technique. Now they feel very different, but ultimately they're the same technique. So you're blocking, striking, blocking, striking. It's the same thing. 1, 2. Understand? Okay, give it a go, guys. Couple of minutes. Try to put the same intent each time. Same intent. Okay, Yama, guys, you get the idea, yeah? Okay, so I don't want to do like a load of hand techniques. We'll do a couple more, but before we move on to stances and different stuff. But ultimately, this, like karate, generally speaking, all karate, generally speaking, comes from Chinese. Well, it comes from China, right? So originally coming from like Shaolin, Kung Fu, that kind of stuff. And Wing Chun, that kind of stuff, yeah? And they have, like in Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu and Wing Chun, they have a lot of this kind of double blocking, like blocking, striking same time. So they'll block and they'll strike, they'll block and they'll strike. And they have a lot of this kind of simultaneous block strike, and they do a lot of kind of sticky hand stuff to kind of develop that style, right? Then this is a classic kind of a Kung Fu move, which is this, also Tai Chi. You can see in Tai Chi, which is, what's it called? It's called tiger strikes, tiger pose strikes, something like that. Can't quite remember what it's called. But ultimately, this is where it comes from. This is this. It's the same movements, and you'll see it in Tai Chi, you'll see it in Kung Fu, and it's just been morphed. And so often we have very different looking technique that actually the origin is the same. So you know, to say, for example, this in Kyusho and this in Sochin are the same technique seems very strange, but actually they are the same, originally the same technique, and the application of it can be the same. The intent of it can be the same. Do you understand? So I want you to kind of think about this as you're kind of doing these movements, yeah? Okay, next one, I want you to think about, like often we kind of do these kind of stepping forward and punch. Then there's something in Okinawan karate called Uke-tsuki. Uke-tsuki is a kind of receiving punch or a blocking punch. Like uke means to receive, yeah? But we translate it as block, agi-uke, that kind of thing. But like Uke-tsuki is a receiving punch. And I want you to just kind of think about this for a little bit. If you've got a partner, then like if someone's kind of like quite close quarter and someone attacks, they're going to punch and they're going to come to this outside, yeah? Like if your hands are here, they're going to come outside. So I want you to think about how you kind of block and punch at the same time. This feeling of kind of block and punch at the same time. Block and punch, or even same hand. Block and punch at the same time. So this kind of forceful cover continues into the punch. I should come this way, this one here. So this kind of forceful block isn't just a block, but also this feeling of punching in at the same time. So to kind of to cover and put that punch in at the same time is really easy. All you have to do is put a fist at the end. Do you understand? This is called Uke-tsuki, and you'll see it. You see it a lot in kind of kung fu, but it's formalized in karate in the sense of 1, 2, 3, like in Heian Shodan, or the number over, like 1, 2, 3. Like we do like repeated punches in a lot of things. Yeah, often they're called Uke-tsuki. Do you understand? Yes. Okay. Yes, Alan.
Sensei.
Yes.
Do we have a point of impact there, like at the end of a straight punch, or we, is there a kime point?
Well, is there a kime point? Where do I start? The kime point is
impact. Nice one.
Yeah. That's a whole different course. The kime point is when it stops because you've hit something. Like if you're just kind of covering going in. If you're just kind of going in, right? Like that will stop when the punch stops. But like often like we kind of learn to kind of this be open, 1, 2, kind of ingrained. But this is easy just to kind of go in. Or this is easy to go in feeling, yeah? Like to kind of go in this way and just put a fist in. Like generally speaking, it's gonna be where they force you to stop. So I wouldn't really think about that. If that sense of kime is always their choice. You're relax, and then you get that tactile feedback, which then makes you lock your connection points. Glutes, ab, lats, wrist. So you relax, and then you hit that tactile feedback. You put kind of your anatomical train in line. So I wouldn't necessarily feel, at no point should you feel now. They dictate your kime. Do you understand? Yeah? So just feel like you're going in and once that impact starts, boom, you're going to kind of firm up that line in order to kind of have that impact. And you've got your impact going forward, but more importantly, their impact coming back. Understand?
Sensei.
Yes.
Isn't that the same hit that boxers use when they go under and get the whole body with it? And
yeah, for sure. I mean, when it comes to punching, there's not a boxer's punch, and there's not a karate punch, and there's not a kung fu punch. Punching is punching, right? And like we of course follow the form at the end because we imagine punching through and then relaxation. I mean, this ironically, the whole thing about kime is that people put kime here. But actually, it's fairly much designed that kime is in that midway point. Like this is the impact point right here. It's not there. Whereas that people put all the focus right at the end. Like if you ever punch anything, that last 10%, 20% of your punches is arguably the part that's the weakest. Apart from that initiation, but no one starts here anyway. Everyone starts here. So straight away, it's got merit. It's got strength. And then it's really strong here as you reach kind of Tateken, and then as you transition through to kind of normal Seiken, that's when it starts to dramatically decrease in speed and power. Do you understand? Okay. Also, guys, think like I would argue with Yama-zuki. So like if Yama-zuki comes, then put on this kind of feeling of Yama-zuki where you're kind of blocking and striking. That's a really kind of good sense of Uke-tsuki. Although I'd argue that Pasai was very different, but like certainly the way that Shokan do it, we could argue that as well. So just have that sense of kind of blocking in. You can practice like multiple punches or Yama-zuki or double punches, that type of thing, just with that intent. Understand? Yes. Okay, give it a go, guys. Couple of minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
When you make a punch and block at the same time, it's like a Sen concept?
Yeah. It's, yeah, I'll say yes for now and I'll talk about that in a minute, okay? But yes, generally yes. Okay. Okay, guys, one more minute. Just watch, please. Yeah, just watch. Then, like so, like I'm just watching people, and it's become, like generally speaking, now, like especially the people who've got partners, who are looking at partners, it's like okay, you're punching and you're doing this, or you're doing this, or something like that. Then this again is kind of it gets that orchestrated pattern. Like your hands are forward, yeah. Like all you're doing is he goes, you go. Like that kind of feeling of going in, or like you're just putting in that relaxed manner, but you're putting a weapon at your forward momentum. Your intent, whatever happens, you're going in. That's all. Rather than, okay, one, and it all becomes, like kind of a timing issue. No, you're reacting to their attack. You've got your guard up, you've got your back leg ready, you've got your hip engaged, and you're just going into it. You're just going in and you're putting a fist behind it. You're just going in and you're putting a fist behind it. Rather than donk, donk, donk. And then all of a sudden it becomes kata again. I don't want you to do kata. I want you to just kind of feel like you're going in. And then when you get that feeling, then you can put it back into your kata. Understand? Okay, last minute, guys, then we're moving on. Okay, that was your minute. Excellent, good. Okay, okay. Let's talk about jumps. Yeah. So again, I just want to give you some ideas, some kind of principles to play with, and we'll kind of conclude it at the end, and then we can start talking about questions. But let's talk about jumps. Then the vast majority of jumps. Oh no, okay. All the jumps in kata are throwing someone, right? Like like back in the day, when people used to say, "Oh, you're jumping over someone swinging a chain," or they had a bow staff and you're jumping over it. Like horrible application. Ultimately, in kata, it's self-practice. And if you're trying to practice how to throw someone, and you're practicing by yourself, there's no one to throw. So literally, you throw yourself. Okay. So for example, okay, first time we would jump in kata, Goran. Yeah, Goran. I don't teach here katas. Here, Goran. So you're going 1, 2, 3, jumping. Yeah. Okay. Let me. Here's a little bit smaller. Okay, like this movement, this is classic. Relax. This is classic judo grab. Like you're classically like this classic kind of judo kind of grip is Morote-gari. It's the same feeling, yeah. So all we're doing is classically kind of holding him, and then we're pulling him and shifting our weight in order to throw. And then this classic kind of choke. This kind of classic. This classic kind of. I haven't done anything yet. This classic choke is the Uke-tsuki, right? So all we're doing is grabbing, shifting our weight in, and then throwing. And then from here, choking. How do we make a form of that? Well, it's here I'm going on, right? So, just practice that movement. But what I don't want to see, and what I see a lot, is that kind of superficial. 1, 2, 3. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it's like, this is not throwing. 1, you're going in. 2, you're throwing someone. You're ready, you're poised, that arm's still bent. And then from here, this pull and this lift is you pulling and lifting as you do this technique. Understand? Okay, give it a go, guys, try.
Tap, forward tap.
First of all, maybe this way. So,
I'm already doing that.
yeah. And then from here, this other side. That's it. Pull. And then. Good. Okay, okay, good. Okay. Okay, let's do MP. MP's easy, right? MP's easy, like punch comes and you're one hit feeling, yeah? Already you've broken his line. Okay, already you kind of like, so from this MP, you're blocking, striking into the groin, yeah? So there's 1, 2. So one hit feeling, grab. Grab him, throw him. And then punch, yeah? So there's 1, 2 feeling, yeah? Block, strike, grab, then throw. Have that intent within your kata, all of a sudden it's got a life of its own. Understand? Okay, if you've got a partner, do it. Let me see. If you haven't, just imagine. That's Angela. Get him, Angela, get him. Throw him. Excellent. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, let's do, we'll do one more jump. Sangoka-tobi from Meikyo. So this is the only one really that you're kind of doing a 1-2 landing, yeah? Every other jump you're kind of trying to look for that at the same time thing, yeah? Whereas Meikyo, you're 1, 2, 3, 4 thing, yeah? I'm stamping so you can hear rather than, that's what I want to do. Okay, so of course, this Oizuki's coming and you're 1, 2, 3, very good. So this is off kilter. This is not 1, this is 1, 2. I'll show you from, let's go from this side. Yeah, so he comes and I'm coming in and throwing this thing, yeah? So I'm using my momentum, my 1, 2 momentum to kind of latch onto his neck, wherever it is, and then transfer that to him. And he's going to go forward and then back. So he's coming forward, but then I'm going back with him. Understand? Okay? Put that into your Meikyo, yeah? Put that feeling in to your Meikyo. Try, guys.
I think you have to push the head down more.
Yeah.
Okay, one more minute. Good. Okay, good. Okay, guys, so look, that's my basic feeling about any jump within kata, yeah? Again, I'm going to try to kind of conclude all this at the end. I just want to give you some ideas before we move on. So that's my basic idea about jumps. Well, not my idea. The idea of jumps, yeah, I didn't discover this. So whenever you do a jump in kata, imagining you're lifting someone else. Just like whenever we punch, you know, we're imagining that we're punching our own jodan, our own chudan, etc. Yeah, we use our own body as a guide. And so when we imagine that we're throwing someone else, we're using our own body as a guide. If you can literally throw yourself, then you're going to kind of be throwing someone who's your height. And that's where we punch jodan, punch chudan to our own height. Understand? Yep. Okay. Next thing I want us to think about is stance. So I get really good. Asai Sensei used to do this a lot. Yeah. So Asai Sensei used to do this where you get someone to make a zenkusatsu. So you get someone to make a zenkusatsu, and you do this kind of coming inside, and you just throw them this way. So all you're doing is foot outside. You can all see that. Let's go a little bit closer. So you're putting his goes right leg forward. I'm going to use my left leg. So left leg to right leg. My foot goes outside. My knee goes inside. Quite vulnerable at that point, but you're very quickly just then pushing, and they'll go. That's all you're doing, yeah. So you can do it that way. So right foot to left foot. You can do you can do you can do this side. You can come in and come this way. Okay? Or change leg. Or you can come to the back leg. Oh, let me just make sure you can see that. You can come to the back leg where you are hooking the back foot and then pushing against the belly. Okay? So all you're doing is learning how your legs can attack their legs. Your stance can attack your stance. Understand? Yes. Okay, in a very basic formulaic way. So, if you've got a partner, try it. If you haven't got a partner, just imagine it. Just 1 minute, guys, because I know some people don't have partners. No. Other leg. Yeah. You have to get the angle a little bit to the side.
Pushing like my shin backwards.
Okay. 30 more seconds, guys. I don't want to spend forever on this because I know some of you don't have partners. But like those who haven't got partners, like again, the Sai Sensei used to just get us to do this all the time, and it just teaches you an aliveness in your stance, yeah, to make sure that your stance isn't set or dead; it's dynamic and moving. Okay, guys, 30 seconds. Okay, next one is really good. Is if you've got partners, you can practice this. If not, you can just take it back to your own dojo, where you're just grabbing. Like you can go. So you're grabbing, yeah, and then just learning how to kind of break their stance. Like being in that position to break their stance. So you're not really doing anything, but you're just kind of breaking that stance. And you can come inside and break the stance. Do you understand? So you're just kind of, I'll do it slow. You're going in, like so without looking, yeah? It's not like, oh, hang on a minute. Okay, because if you look, you'd have to do that. Secret big toe death stance. I didn't realise that would work so well. Foot outside, knee inside. And so you're kind of feeling your way. You're kind of feeling your way until you feel that vulnerability. And so you're kind of attacking their stance without really doing anything. It's a really good practice, yeah? So if you've got a partner, 30 seconds practicing that, give it a go. If not, then think about it. Paul Sensei, what are you doing stuff? Punch bag.
Sensei?
Yes, Susanna.
Is it always the feet outside and the knee inside? Is it always inversed?
No, so it depends. Like, so sometimes, so like for example, if I'm attacking Ru, then like if it's my like say it's opposite leg, then it just makes natural. It's his right leg, my left leg. It's natural for me to step outside and bring my knee inside. But if it's my same leg, right leg, then like I want to come in the other way. Or if it's for example kind of going my back leg to his back leg, then it's kind of different as well. So it's really trying to just doing those three basic combinations that we did in the basic stance, and then just trying to find your way. There's no absolute way though. Either way, the knee's not very good. The knee's very good at bending that way. The knee's not very good at bending that way, if you know what I mean. So that's what you want to do, that way or that way. Okay, that's your 30 seconds. Okay, last one, guys. Last one, kind of to bring it a little bit back to what we were doing with the double hand technique. Like so like if someone punches, yeah, and you're blocking and coming in, then this is this kind of Nishi-sho feeling, yeah. You're not just like Chinese talk about kind of always 3-point attack, like Chinese kung fu. So it's this 1, 2, 3 feeling, where you're kind of 1, 2, 3. Always, like you'll see Chinese statues like this, right? Always 3-point attack. Block, grab, strike feeling. Or in this case, knee to knee. So what you're doing is you're kind of using that third limb, that stepping limb, not to just keep upright, but to put your body mass into them. We're not only putting our body mass into like a punch, but our whole body, both limbs that are going forward, bomb in, and especially when you see this kind of sanchin dash type thing, then it's a kind of a much more close quarter type thing. Understand? Tekki's also the same, yeah, where you're this feeling, yeah? Okay, give it a go, guys. If you've got a partner, great. If not, just try to imagine. Or as Matthew is doing, take notes. Good boy, Matthew Sensei. You are a Sensei today because you're taking notes. Oh, all right, Karen Sensei too. Karen Sensei's taking notes too. And also taking photographs, I see, Karen. Okay, okay, Dan is taking notes as well. Bjorn's taking notes, everyone's taking notes. Get him, Hannah, get him. Fast punch, Hannah. Oh, that's, again, closer, Hannah, closer, get him. Hannah, no wonder you got bad knees. Look at what he's doing to you. Okay, good. Okay, so last point I want to make before we kind of move on, and that's kicking in technique in kata. Then of course, originally, like everything was low. Like you'd have Yoke-gari, Kokomi, Gidan, knee height, that type of thing. You'd have Mai-gari, Churan Mai-gari maybe. And then of course Shotokan, great thing about Shotokan is that they stretch things, they make it more athletic. And so you have a greater physicality within a Shotokan karateka compared to, dare I say, non-Shotokan karateka. And as a result, kicks became higher and they became more exaggerated. And we had Manji-gari and Unsu, for example, and we did Yoke-gari Kyagi, which never really existed anywhere. But that sense of close quarter. So generally speaking, you would have, if someone punch, you're kind of grabbing, opening, kicking. Yeah. So this grab, opening, kick, and you'll see a lot of this in Okinawan karate. So where you're grabbing, pulling them off, kicking and kicking. This fit. It's a very close quarter kick. This kind of symbolically became Yurakan, of course, where it was just kind of like from, like even if it was a tussle, and just bringing them round to kick that feeling, where you're kind of anchoring and then kicking. So it's all very close quarter. Occasionally you'd have this before taking the leg out, that thing where you're kind of taking the leg out, feeling like in Pasai, which became Basai Dai, Basai Shop. So we had very close quarter kicks. Always manipulation, always grabbing, Scam-yuke, this, which then became Yurakan, but ultimately a kind of block, a grabbing block, and then close quarter kicks. We lengthened it. So for me, as soon as you start to do Kyagi, and as soon as you start kind of doing things like where you're really kind of driving in before you block, then it becomes much more expansive. And so an application of that becomes very different. So like, generally speaking, if I was ever going to do that, I always do Taisabaki. So this coming Taisabaki, this kind of change. So I'm always moving and going in. So this becomes much more of a just kind of Jodan Barai feeling, and then Kyagi or Urumawash or wherever kick you want to do. But the expansive nature of the kicks that we do in Shotokan now kind of give it a whole different context, a whole different kind of feeling and intention. And so the application has to be different from the original. Understand? Yes. So I want you to practice a couple of things. I want you to first practice, let's take the Heian Nidan. So Heian Nidan, like this part, where you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, this sequence. First of all, try this. I'm going to show you from this angle. Try where you are, a little bit Taisabaki, bringing down, and then from this kind of neko-ash feeling, opening up, Mai-gari. That's all. This opening Mai-gari, that simultaneous attack kick. Open up kick. And then in the original it was this, yeah? So try that, that's one thing. Second thing, try in a much more dynamic way, where you're making Taisabaki. Someone's coming in, you're Taisabaki getting out the way, Uruma wash down. That feeling. So one much more kind of freestyle feeling, like the Shotokan feeling, and one traditional feeling. Understand? Yes. Okay, give it a go, guys, try. Get him, Hannah, get him. Guys, the ones who are doing the traditional way, make sure this kind of almost feels like Joran Sotsuke. Joran Sotsuke as you prepare. cover, 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 and then from here driving in, yeah? Thirty more seconds, guys. Okay, Yame. So, guys, what I would say is that, like, to bear in mind where these kicks came from is really sometimes useful. Like I won't name names, but I've been seeing people, you know, who are trying to kick high. Like I saw a couple of people just do normal Heian Nidan, you know, Uke-tsuki Kyagi, and kind of really kind of breaking that line and leaving maybe bum sticking out just to kick high, right? It's much better. Like if someone, for example, was doing Heian Nidan, and they from this point they went 1, 2, 3, and they did Manji-gamae, and they did this kind of blocking and then Manji-gamae, this feeling, and it was a Chudan Manji-gamae. I couldn't say it's wrong. But I'd much rather see that than someone who is, you know, trying to kick really high and they do a really bad kick and everything's kind of all leaned over and they're disconnected just to kind of get some superficial height. It's much better to follow the principle of the kata, what he was trying to do, whether that be the athletic way of doing it, which is, you know, kind of, you know, that nice yoke-gamae, boom, kicking and then moving, kind of in an athletic way, or maybe a less athletic, a less flexible way, but still a principled movement. Do you understand? Yeah? So try to understand the intent, try to understand the origin, and then try to put that intent, the original intent, into your movement, whether that might be really athletic or not athletic at all. Okay? Good. Okay, so guys, we're well over halfway through, and so look, basic principle, a couple of basic principles. Firstly, we have that two-handed block strike, block strike, block strike, typical basic Kung Fu, Wushu, kind of Shaolin, Shorinji Kempo type movement, right? That's one, and we see a lot of that. We see a lot of in any of these Manji-gamaes or any of these double hand techniques, that's basically what you're doing. That's one point. Second point is that there's that principle of Uke-tsuki that is used a lot, and there's multiple punches in karate, where you're doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 combinations. And that is often this kind of just connection, teaching you that connection. Someone attacks, it's not just a block, it's a punch. Everything, all of your body always forward in that defensive situation, yeah? You're not blocking and countering, it's not 1, 2. Karate's never 1, 2, it's only 1. Third point, the jumps. They're always practicing throwing someone. Like there's a load of literature out there, a load of videos about the nine lost throws or the 9 throws that Funakoshi Sensei used to teach. Like it's one of those kind of very good criticisms of Shotokan karate is that we don't have any jumps, throws or grappling. Well, we do have throws. We shouldn't, but like the principle, what am I trying to say? The criticism of Shotokan is that most people don't practice them, and we should have that sense of being able to throw someone. Okay, next point: always attack with your stance. So those stances that we create, whether it be Furudachi and still attacking with the front knee, even Zenkatachi we can do it, but certainly Sanchin-dachi, you're really kind of using your stance as well to attack the person. Do you understand? Yep. Okay, and last point, kicks. Shotokan has been stretched, so now our kicks are bigger and longer and wider, and it's gone from a short to medium range style to a medium to long range style. Now, when we practice these kicks, you should be able to kind of make those kicks work between the short range, the very close quarter, close Manji-gamae, or taking the knee out, to the long range, where we're kind of a little bit tighter back in, going in Yoke-tsuki Kyagi or Oromo or something like that. You understand? So like they're the kind of couple basic principles that I would kind of recommend that everyone thinks about when they do Bunkai. Okay, that's one point. Second point, well, that's the general kind of technical input that I'd give, and I can answer questions later. What I would say is that Bunkai, whenever you do Bunkai, there's a couple of principles that you must follow in the application of that Bunkai. Firstly is that you don't change the kata. No need to change the kata. You don't add anything. You don't do kind of, you don't do kind of one and then add a shuto. That's not the kata. Okay? So don't add anything to your application. Second thing is that when you hit someone in application, they have to kind of react like you've hit them. You're reacting as if they're going to hit you, so they should react as if you've hit them. Because what you don't want to do is kind of have this, like 1, 2, 3, and the person's just stood there, 1, 2, 3. They wouldn't stand there. Yeah, so you have to have that sense of realism. So whenever you kind of practice application with the partner, make sure they're playing their role as well. Their role, the uke's role, is just as important as the person who's actually doing the kata. And third point, whenever you do this, it has to add to the performance of your kata. So what you're trying to do through bunkai is give intent to your movement. Okay, and then that intention should then be taken back into your performance. So there's no point practicing, for example, practicing this throw with someone, and you're really grabbing in and you're throwing them. And then when you perform the kata, it becomes completely disconnected to that movement altogether, yeah? The kata is hollow if there's no intention in it. The kata is hollow if it's just a superficial movement, and you don't want to do that. Understand? Yes. Okay, and the last point I would say is that whenever you practice application, it has to be dynamic, not set. It's not, this is what application is for this part in the kata, and this is the application for this part of the kata. And it just becomes another kata. And you'll see an awful lot of that. You'll see an awful lot of like ritualized bunkai. You don't want to do ritualized bunkai, you want to do dynamic bunkai. So everything is kind of free flow, as much as possible. Now often that comes from kind of patterns that you learn, and you learn lots of different patterns, and eventually you get to freedom. But ultimately that's your aim in bunkai, is to be more free. Understand? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, guys, quite a bit of information there, I hope. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back. Then if you've got any questions, there's quite a bit more I want to say about bunkai, but I want to kind of hopefully blend it in with answering some questions. Understand? Okay, so we'll take 1 minute break, and then we'll come back, and if you've got any questions, you can feel free to ask. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, guys, we're back. That was your minute. Okay, fit to go. Ready? Okay, so a few things I want to still talk about, but let's start with some questions. So, if you have any questions about whatever we've done so far in the last hour, also if there's any specific kind of things that you've struggled with in terms of applying in any kata, you can ask, and we'll take a stab at it. But yeah, any questions? Go for it, guys.
Sensei, can I ask one? Sorry.
Yeah, Roby, go for it. Oh.
In the context, Sensei, of not adding, one thing which I was told a long time ago about bunkai was that in kata, any step forward could equally be a step back. But would you say that still applies?
Well, okay, so yeah, good question. Yes, but like the problem with that is that then it equally becomes dogmatic. What I would say is that the actual embusen of the kata doesn't matter. So embusen, embu just means to demonstrate, and sen just means line. So the demonstration line. So I'd like in Okinawan kata, they don't have embusen. The sense of starting and finishing in the same spot is kind of a ridiculous thing to them. Why is that important? And if you think about it, well, why is it important? Like, what do we do that ever starts and finishes in the same spot? It's kind of like that militaristic Japanese, and I use that in terms to distinguish between mainland Japan and Okinawan. It's not Okinawan thought process, it's a Japanese thought process. And it's a militaristic thought process. And as they moved to universities, and as they wanted to, as Japan was militarizing very quickly, and there's lots of people in the dojo all in very straight lines. You never see that in Okinawa. Then the embusen became important. And so, that sense of stepping rigidly in one direction, and became kind of cemented in their minds. So, yeah, if you step forward, then you can equally step back. But then the problem is that becomes then a get-out clause. So, I don't know what to make of stepping forward and blocking. So I'm going to say that I'm going to step back and blocking instead. It becomes a get-out clause rather than having the sense that this dynamic movement, yes, Ru's attacking, but I'm stepping forward. forward to do something. I'm putting my body mass in, and like that dynamic movement becomes kind of like an arm bar or something, you know. So that's a simple example, but you want to be as free as possible and not chained to that Embusen. The other thing I would say is that when people start applying kata, they apply it strictly in the stance that the kata is practiced in, and also stupidly sometimes in the technique that preceded it. Now, bunkai literally is made up of two kanji. Bun means it means part. It can also mean minute or section. Hombu. No, it's not actually. That's a different symbol. Okay, it means minutes. I'm trying to think of an example that people know. But it can mean minute or section or whatever. So you're taking a section of the kata, and kai just means to analyze. So bunkai is analyzing one part. The part before that and the part after that are completely kind of nothing to do with what you're doing. So don't be like, you'll see people who, for example, they've just done like this movement, and they're starting from here, and then they go 1, 2. No, you don't have to start from here. You start from a free point. A free point, someone blocks you striking in. Also, Kokotadachi is trying to teach you to keep your weight back while still transferring power. You're literally standing with your weight back. That's not what it means always. It just means your weight is back. So in that defensive position, you're in that free position, you're going to block and you're going to strike in, and you're kind of making that shape of Kokotadachi before really grabbing, yeah? So allow the Embusen and the stances that you create to kind of train your body, and then afterwards allow the intention to come through, rather than being dogmatically controlled by the Embusen. Understand? Okay, next! It's going to be a very short course if you don't have questions.
Sensei.
Yes, Petri.
The rhythm and speed in the kata. For example, slow spaces and fast spaces. Are they just because we have to learn rhythm and slow motions and fast motions, or are there any purpose?
Okay, so yeah, I think two things there. First thing is the general rhythm. Okay, so rhythm and slow and fast. Okay, I know they're kind of very similar, but rhythm first. Rhythm is just the individual artistic expression. So like kata is like physical poetry. Or like a song, like when someone sings a song, they can change the rhythm and they can make it feel almost very differently. Poetry is the same. You can change the rhythm of a poem, and it can feel very differently depending on who's saying it, and even the same person saying it in a different way. So kata is physical poetry, and so you put your own rhythm into that. Now, what's happened, of course, is that people over the years they've seen great performances of a certain kata. And they look at the rhythm of that performance, and then they say, oh, that's how the rhythm should be. But no, it's not. It's just how they did it. And really, we want to have, like kata is very set. But within that set structure, there's a great amount of fluidity and a great amount of places that you can be dynamic. And rhythm is part of that. Now, I don't for a moment suggest that anybody like low grade should start making their own rhythm up. Because ultimately kata means form, but it also means mold, or it means the law. So I often think kata, using mold as a translation is far better. The mold is there for you to put your karate in, and then eventually you take your mold away and you have karate. So low grades, they must use that mold very strictly. And then eventually you take that mold away and you're left with your karate. And so initially you should follow other people's rhythm, but eventually you find your own rhythm. And that's your unique performance of whatever kata you're doing. Second thing is fast and slow movements. Like everything is fast. Everything is fast. Some things finish slowly. So what I really hate this kind of, when I say hate is a very strong word, but if there was a stronger word, I'd use that one. Because I really hate it when people go, like, this isn't a slow movement. This is just a slow hand movement, and we never do slow hand movements. Everything is a total body action. And so, for example, the first movement of Hyan Yondan, we are twitching. Now, of course, it finishes slowly. It finishes slowly, but it starts quickly. Here, Basai Dai, the Manji-gamae in Basai Dai. This is almost fast. Like, I hate it when people go, well, they're just doing a slow hand movement. It's horrible. There's no control there. You want to twitch, and then control. Now, so all movements are fast. Most finish fast as well. Some finish slowly. And often that slow movement is like a controlling technique. So like, for example, in this case, like Ross attacks and I'm one finish, and one finish. Whoa, like quickly kind of like, whoa, in this control mechanism, yeah? This controlled mechanism. Or, for example, so like in Kyusho, his hand comes and then, and you're bringing him down this way, yeah? You're just trying to put him into a controlled position. So often those slow movements are translated to a quickly getting into position and then a joint manipulation as you put them in an arm bar or something like that. Something?
I was going to say.
Okay. Next. Okay, next. Ladies first. Karen, go for it.
Thank you, Sensei.
And then Matthew next.
You've half answered my question. I put one up at the bottom. But moving a different way to the actual movement in the kata, I don't want to move forward and not back, but if I feel that I'd get a better effect from moving slightly sideways, I'm thinking particularly, if I can hold the button and do this, first move of Chinte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm either blocking, grabbing and pulling in. But I feel I'd block better if I then turn the face, then my next arm that goes out can grab him and take him down. So I'm changing the direction of my body, not so much going forward, back.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, performance of the kata, the performance is set. The performance is the mold. The performance of the kata, the Embusen, that's the mold of karate, and you put your karate into it to make something, right? So that mold, that form is set, of course. But the application and the intention that you have is free. And so, like, for example, if Ross was attacking this punch, then of course I'd block him maybe here, and then I'd come here for this first movement, yeah? 1, 2 feeling, yeah? This kind of like I wouldn't say I'd make that, it's good. I'd make that, the cage as they call it. I'd make that cage come in and then round feeling, yeah? 1, 2. Then this is 1, 2 before you kind of do this, yeah? But ultimately, my feet are getting around him. I'm not going to try to, he's 125 kilos. Almost, he's not. So for me to manhandle him is going to be really difficult. I want to move around. To get out of the way. I don't want to try to get him. If I want to be kind of like the other side of him, I don't kind of move him. I move myself to get out of the way. You understand? So always, as much as possible, be dynamic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Matthew.
Sensei, because it was taken from Okinawa to Japan and militarized, have we lost the pressure points and the vulnerable points in Bunkai? Somewhere.
Yeah, that whole Kyusho Jitsu stuff. I train with a couple of the guys, and like for sure, right? For sure, like I like who would I train with? I can't remember his name now. I can't remember his name, but he was very, very good, and like he put a few of them onto me, and geez, immediately, his group is called Ao Denki. Ao means blue green. Well, the Japanese don't know the difference between blue and green, but blue electricity. Ao Denki karate, blah blah blah, and for sure he put a pressure point on me, and that shooting pain was immediately, and like that blue electric shock is exactly how I felt, right? So for sure there are points that you can apply that will really work, but are you going to do that in a fight? I don't know. I mean, you can train for years and years and years to be able to apply that, but then in the scuffle of a real life situation, actually applying it, I think is very, very difficult. Also, I think about 20% of people has zero effect whatsoever. So you're going to do something that is only 80% efficient. Like for sure, you punch someone in the throat, 100% of the time they'll feel it. You know what I mean? But like if you're going to do a technique that is 80%, 20% not going to work, then I don't know if I'd spend my life trying to do that. But yeah, so I think it's very much overstated, and I don't dabble in that at all.
Apart from that counter force when you tap the back and you punch the front.
Yeah, well, that's very different. Like, so that's absorption, and so like it's a very kind of it's a very you go, Ross. It's a very so this is part of learning how. So like if I got Ross to hit me, so this feeling like you can absorb. So you're feeling. Hang on, you're feeling. This. Doesn't that good? And then you can translate that. You can translate the power. So like all Hangetsu feeling is about kind of learning how to absorb power. And not only absorb power, but redirect it. So I have a good friend, Michael Thompson, who is he was one of the K1, originally K1 guys in Japan. And he was European Kyokushin champion. When he was European Kyokushin champion, he won by absorbing the power. So like, Kyokushin just kind of lay hell out to each other, right? So they would punch him and he would just absorb it. And like every time he'd come in, and then when he was absorbing it, he was kind of releasing it and punching them. So he was absorbing the punch and releasing it. And he was quite small for the European champion, but he won a number of times through that absorption. So like Kyokushin, real kind of hard stuff, Kyokushin style fighting, they do it, Okinawan do it, and it's part of that kind of whole kind of breathing process that people do, certainly in kind of Tibet, and Wim Hof method is very similar, and also Shaolin Kung Fu do it a lot. Yeah, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. And that anti-absorption, like in Shinte and blah, 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 is to stop them doing it. So it's just about learning how to do it and learning how to stop people doing it. Okay. Next. That's it.
Sensei,
yeah.
You're saying that jumps be interpreted as throws.
Say again, sorry, Paul?
You're saying the jumps are interpreted as throws.
Yeah.
But could you say that a lot of the turns are throws as well? Like particularly ones beyond 90 degrees?
Yeah. Well, like first of all, I think like it's a little bit reverse engineering, because of course the Pinan kata. Let's just take this Pinan katas for example. Like after the first kiai in hang on just 1 minute. Okay, so after the first kiai in Heian Shodan, and you're turning 90 degrees and turning. Right, so originally that was in Pinan Nidan. Originally that was 45 degrees, and it was a very very much a direct in blocking low Gidan-brai before a high technique. Low Gidan-brai, high technique. Yeah. So those big long 90 degree turns were not the norm. It was much more 45 degrees, and they were kind of going directly into hard block. Shotokan changed things. They wanted to make it more athletic. And so they made 90 degrees rather than 45 degrees. And so to then say, oh, well, these could be a throw. Yes, they could. Would you necessarily kind of say that was the original intent? No. But one of the beauties of Shotokan kata is that one of the terrible things about Shotokan kata is that it's been completely changed. And the original meaning in many times have been completely lost. But the beauty to that is then it makes us incredibly inventive. How can we do this form and give meaning to it? And so I think that's a really important point. So like having this sense of like, so for example, if so like I'm blocking and going in, and then this sense of kind of reaching around, grabbing his beard and pulling down this area, where you're kind of grabbing in and pulling down. So this is this kind of like like that kind of when you. Like so, if they don't have a beard, so like where you're kind of grabbing in. This way. So where you're grabbing in this fitting, and then pulling them. You're kind of close quarters and you're pulling them down. This feeling, yeah, this kind of throw. So this is quite a nice application, but this is completely reverse engineering. This is not the original, but it has the same body dynamics, the same control of your center, the same compression, expansion, the same driving in with your stance. So, does it work? Yes. Have you changed the kata? No. Does it give greater intent and greater performance to the kata? Yes. So therefore, it's good. Okay? Okay. Anything else?
Breathing, Sensei. I have another question.
Okay.
Because in Goju-ryu and other things, I mean, they focus hugely on it. And in Shotokan, it seems to be a slight afterthought. And I wondered...
Yeah.
Does somebody at my level need to start really thinking hard about how I'm breathing and when I'm breathing and different types of breathing?
So I think, so first of all, Rick Jackson Sensei is very knowledgeable about this type of breathing. And so there's Ibuki breathing and Nogara. Matt Sensei, is that right? Nogara breathing. Dr. Payne? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So Nogara breathing and Ibuki breathing. Ibuki breathing is that you'll see a lot in Goju-ryu and all that kind of stuff. Sanshin kata. It's a very heavy breathing. It's kind of deeply connected. Whereas Nogara breathing, or like this, I think sometimes translated as warrior breath or baby breath, where you are kind of much more relaxed on the execution. And so you're creating that kind of tension, but then relaxing through the breath. I think the tongue's at the top of the mouth, so and you just relax through. Now, these two types of breathing, I think, are really important to study, and like I am trying to study them. I think ultimately they are 2 points within a spectrum, and the kind of the basics, the kihon really of breathing, and so you learn them, and then ultimately it becomes natural. But what really interests me, for example, is kind of, well, two things. Firstly, this type of Ibuki Nogara breathing. Also kind of kime on the in-breath as well. So like, for example, here Nidan, this breathing in, out. So this feeling of breathing in and kind of creating connection is super important. So if we're only ever making kime on the out-breath, we're limiting ourselves, yes? So we have to be able to kind of connect whilst we breathe in as well. So we so often practice this, but like this feeling. It's far more explosive feeling, yeah? You want to be able to try that as well. So not only, like for example, like if punch comes like this. That feeling, yeah? Kime on the out breath. Yeah? So being able to make kime on the in breath is super important. So yes, breathing is really important. Find those little kind of drills that you can do, play about with it, internalize that structure, and then be free. Because ultimately, you're going to be free when you kind of naturally apply it. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anything else, guys?
I got a question.
Alex!
We always talk about blocking, punching, putting somebody on the floor. But let's say that person who we're punching or putting on the floor, we don't talk much or we don't show much. How should we fall? How should we go along with let's say when you're showing with your foot and the knee? Do I resist or I just kind of go along with the movement, go on the floor, roll around, hit him back? How could we kind of integrate that in karate?
So I think karate is a style, right? It's a system. It's an axiomatic truth. It's a useful fiction, right? It's a set of principles that we explore, and we try to push the envelope within that very tight structure. And any structure, anything that you are formalizing into a structure has gaps, has weaknesses. Now, I think as a result, there are going to be parts within Shotokan Karate that really don't teach everything. And I think this groundwork, this break fall, this ability to get on or get off the floor or land the floor and then get off again is not in karate. Is not certainly not in Shotokan Karate, should I say. So, like I did jiu-jitsu when I was a kid. Like Ross has done loads of MMA stuff. Rue bounces everywhere. Like, you know, like there is a sense that we are trying to compensate for the lack of that training within Shotokan. But first and foremost, there's no point kind of trying to explore another system whilst you haven't really kind of, well, dare I say, not mastered, because like who's going to master a system, but certainly got to grips with the fundamentals within one system. So get to the grips with the fundamental of one system, and then you can explore the others. Like we did a seminar with Peter Constantine the other week, and he was saying, I don't know if he said it on the course or afterwards, he was saying that, you know, you would never, you would never want to go to the ground. I mean, he's kind of coming from a very real life situation, and being on the ground is when you've kind of most vulnerable. So like why spend all that time practicing when you're in a very, very vulnerable position that you're probably never going to get out of? Now, other people would disagree with him, but I think there is an element of truth there. Like, make sure you can stand on 2 feet and kick and punch to the best of your ability before you move on. But once you got there, then of course, maybe explore different things. Okay?
Thank you.
Wuss. Next, anything else, guys?
I've got a question, Sensei.
Yeah.
Just you talked about Fudokoshi's 9 throws. And obviously, we've got kind of a syllabus of kata that we all follow and learn.
Yeah.
I think I've probably done 1 throw in the years that I've been training. Do you think why have we lost that in our training?
Well, I think a number of reasons. Firstly, Shotokan karate per se has become quite specialized, and competition especially, right? Competition especially has focused us into a medium to long range striking art, and with that overemphasis on straight line techniques, because you can't control circular techniques. You don't get scored, you don't get points for throwing someone, and so we've become quite myopic within the focus of what karate is, what Shotokan karate is. That's one problem. Second problem is that, I think a lot of people just don't have mats or the ability to practice that safely. So I think those 2 things combined over the years has led to a point where the current generation of instructors are just lacking in that knowledge, which is a real shame. However, like like nowadays, it's so easy to learn this type of stuff. Go onto YouTube and you can very quickly pick up some basic throws. And there's loads of I saw Jesse Enkamp did a video, I think, a while back about the throws of kata. It was great. It was lovely, and they're not that difficult, and you can see them. Oh yeah, I can do that. And then once you start practicing them, they become very easy, and then you can put that intent within your kata. Rick Horton Sensei, Rick Horton Sensei is basically Rick Horton Sensei is great at karate, but what he has done really nicely is get also good at Aikido, and then use those Aikido principles and throws to reinforce his karate teaching. And it's like a breath of fresh air, right? So there's great ways to be able to kind of get these resources to be able to kind of put that throwing element back into your karate.
Great, thank you very much, and thanks for the class, Sensei. It's brilliant.
My pleasure. How are we doing for time, guys? Okay, we've got 5 more minutes. There's a few more things I want to say, but okay, last question. Anybody got a last question?
I'm afraid I've got another question, Sensei, if nobody else has.
Hang on, let me give 10 seconds. If anybody else has got questions, otherwise Matthew will take your spot. That'll be a good question, Matthew.
Sensei, have you any drills for leg strengthening for the jumps themselves?
Well, Matthew, Chris. I think strength is strength, right? So, like the best way to kind of, of course, the best way to get good at karate, strong karate, is to do karate. But we do loads of strengthening exercises, and we do like that knees over toe guys exercise. Where you're doing really low lunges. We've been doing that for a while. Where we're kind of in Zenkutsudach and like lunging right the way down and kind of going right the way down to that point, then back again, and just kind of lunging like that as a way to kind of improve our strength. We often do, or sometimes do those 3 different types of squats. So kind of going from slightly bent to kind of 3/4 back to slightly and just up and down, that for a minute, and then straight away, fast down, slow up, fast down, slow up, without straightening your legs, and then for a minute, and then last one, just kind of like vibrating, bouncing, like almost down for a minute. We do that, 3 minutes of that, your legs are ready to fall off. 3 minutes. Huh?
Sorry, it's more dynamic leg exercises than static leg exercises.
Yeah, I think you got to know your body and know what you're strong and weak at. But there's loads of exercise and drills, static exercise, dynamic exercises. For me, we want that explosive power. Always looking for that explosive power. But you got to kind of, cross train and make sure that you're kind of trying to get the best, and so doing different types of exercises. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Go on, Matthew. Quick one. Oh, hang on. Go on.
Sorry, Matthew. I will give you a...
Go on, Matthew.
Oh, no, I think she should go first since I've had my...
Angela? Oh, you're muted. I don't know if you're saying anything. Okay, go, Matthew, go.
Apparently Dave Hazard teaches that the Tekki katas can be thought of as you lying on your back.
Yeah.
Say on the floor. Is there any credibility in that, in your view?
Well, I think Dave Sensei is incredibly inventive karateka and instructor, and when he comes to things like that, he's an absolute genius. And so, yeah, for sure, like, there's loads of things, because ultimately all that kind of, you watch the grappling stuff and the MMA stuff, and it's all about kind of getting close in and kind of manipulating and using your body in a way that's very different from explosive dynamic movement. And so for sure, Tekki is all about that, really, that short, kind of sharp, explosive movement, or kind of slow control movement. So yeah, for sure. But ultimately, like, for example, ultimately, like if someone's coming in and you're blocking and striking, and you're using this before you throw, then like this is all kind of close quarter kind of stuff, right? Which is, I think, is quite good for Tekki. But yeah, I've seen it from Bill Sensei, and it's amazing. Is that what it was originally designed for? No, absolutely not. But that's the beauty about Shotokan, because it's so Tekki is still quite different from Naihanshi. Because it's quite different, then it gives us the freedom to be more dynamic in our application. Understand?
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, guys. Okay, like, well, we're running out of time, so I just want to conclude, yeah? Look, all kata, like really in your mind, translate kata to mold rather than form. It is a mold, like a plaster of Paris mold, where you put the plaster of Paris in, you take the mold away, and what you're left with is the thing, not the mold itself. So kata means mold. It also means form. It also means law. But like, think about it as a mold.
Thank you for the session, Sensei. I'm going. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye. Okay, so think about it as a mold, right? Think about it that you are putting your karate into it and allowing your karate to become something within that mold. Second thing is that it is a useful fiction. And like I had a conversation with Simon Bly Sensei the other day, and he said something really nice. He said the thing is that a useful fiction is only useful if you understand that it's a fiction. Kata is not real. It'll never apply in that way. It'll never work in that way. It is a fiction, but through that useful fiction, or that axiomatic truth, we are trying to explore the dynamic quality of our body. We're trying to develop physical intelligence. We're trying to create kind of explosive power, strength, all that kind of stuff, that we can then apply those things that we've learned in that useful fiction to the real world. Okay. The last thing I would say is that kata, by its very nature, is a static pattern. It's not changed. I mean, I know things have kind of morphed and ebbed and a little bit changed over the years, but ultimately, it's a thing that you practice. And from that static pattern, we want to have freedom. Now, like that seems really oxymoronic, yeah, but it's a very traditional Zen Buddhist idea, where you're over and over again practicing the same thing. It becomes ritualistic. And through that ritualistic kind of process, you're kind of honing principles until those principles become part of your very nature. And as soon as they're part of your very nature, then you have freedom. And once you have freedom, you can do anything you want with it. Do you understand? So if you practice your kata in this manner, then it will always be new. by practicing the same thing over and over again in this ritualistic manner, it will never be the same. It will always be new. It will always be evolving. Okay? Okay, guys, that's my ideas on Bunkai. I hope you got something from it, and we're going to finish. Yeah. Okay. Fitsuka.